Hi, I'm Rebecca Corser, Executive Director of the Warner Historical Society, and I'm here to talk about a series of exhibits and programming put together by the Muse Group. This is our third collaborative exhibit, and it's called Over There, Over Here, World War I and Life in New Hampshire Communities. And we have put together a year-long series of events for this, which will end in November 2018. I'm here to talk about the exhibit at the Warner Historical Society, which covers life in Warner from 1914 to 1920. And we start here with the home front and talk about what was happening in Warner prior to the start of the war. The war will start after the assassination of Duke Ferdinand in the end of June 1914. At this point in time, the United States is not involved in this war. In the United States during that period of time, there was pros and cons. There were people who were wanting us to jump into the war effort and people who felt that we should be isolationists and not be involved. So what's happening in Warner is life is going on as usual. There's the formation of the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. The Warner Board of Trade decides to promote businesses in town and puts out a souvenir booklet. As the United States decides to enter the war, they create a committee called the Committee for Public Information, and they set forth all of the propaganda, all of the posters that relate to the selling of Liberty bonds, raising money to help pay for this war. And the other thing that people don't realize is Rosie the Riveter and Victory Gardens were not just World War II, but they were happening in World War I as well. Women were working in factories and munitions departments. And then we have the advent of the flu epidemic that goes around the world twice in 1918 and 1919. And that comes to Warner in an unexpected fashion in that the local doctor felt that this was just a passing flu, that we need not to be worried about it. But as time went on and people started dying here in Warner, for Warner, we had many men join, and they were part of the Yankee division that comprised of men from all of the New England states. We provided a lot of energy for helping to end the war because at this time, Germany and France and England were stymied on the battlefield with the trench warfare. When we went over, General Pershing wanted our own operators that were bilingual so that there would be quick and fast communication between the battlefront and the stations that were organizing the war effort. Warner lost 3 men during World War I. Our first casualty was Lynn Harriman, who was a lieutenant involved in the trench warfare, and he was able to hold off many German soldiers while his men were able to escape. And he received the Croix de Gras and the Medal of Honor for his valor. Many women served in the war effort as well. 25,000 women were involved in the war effort, serving as telephone operators, nurses, ambulance drivers, canteen workers, and whatever needed to be done. And we have information on Pauline Sands, who was an American Fund for the French Wounded volunteer. So these are examples of some of the things that you'll see on exhibit here. Also in Warner, the New Hampshire Telephone Museum specializes on communication during World War I. They have lots of photos of different methods of communication. Believe it or not, there were passenger pigeons, there were camels, there were elephants, there were dogs. They also have a great trench set up so you get a feeling of what it would be like to serve in a trench. Dark, cold, wet, very little light, very little sanitation. We also have the Mount Kearsarge Indian Museum, which focuses on the Choctaw code talkers that were used in World War I, and also families of Native American men from the New Hampshire area that served in World War I. The Little Nature Museum, which is right next door to the Mount Kearsarge Indian Museum, will be focusing on camouflage used during this time period. So we hope that you'll go to our website, overthereoverhere.com, see what we have to offer, and join us in our celebration of the 100th anniversary of World War I.